Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Canada Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. A snapshot view here looking at the next 1 to 2 weeks of precipitation, looking at week 1 on the left, week 2 on the right. Over the next week, keeping things very active in a corridor here through parts of central and northern Alberta, through central Saskatchewan and Manitoba, with the most significant precipitation expected to fall here over portions of north central Alberta as we head through the rest of the week. The week that follows here, July 30th through August 5th, keeping things near or slightly above average across much of the Canadian prairies here as the jet stream kind of flattens out. We're going to reintroduce showers and storms across portions of the Corn Belt in the United States, but not shutting down things altogether here across the Canadian prairies. At the same time, keeping precipitation, at least in scattered chances, off and on across the Canadian prairies into the week 2 time period. The temperature anomaly situation here the next 10 days, the first 5 on the left, the next 5 on the right. Dealing with a warmer picture right now, but we're going to be fluctuating into a bit of a roller coaster right here where we kind of ebb and flow. So we see cooler anomalies here on the right. This is going to be more of a flip between warmer and cooler air masses here as we go from storm system to storm system here through the next 7 to 10 days. And we'll take a look at what I mean by that here in just a moment. So the jet stream right now, we check in on Tuesday morning. We've got a large ridge over the western United States into the Canadian prairies right here, keeping things warmer as over the last several days here, again, across the Canadian prairies, but then bringing in much cooler temperatures to the Corn Belt here where we were dealing with heat over the last week or so. Let me take my drawings off and let's see where we're going then as we head through the next week or so. I'm going to go ahead and let this start over as we begin here watching this ridge across the Canadian prairies. We're watching this trough now making its way onshore across the western portions of Canada and the Pacific Northwest. That's going to move into the area here early to midweek. It's bringing thunderstorm chances to parts of Alberta here Tuesday afternoon, and then it's going to move from west to east across the Canadian prairies, bringing thunderstorm chances again west to east across the region here midweek. As we play it out a little bit further, again, we'll see a slight ridge building back into the area. That's going to let us warm back up on the back side of that departing storm system here over the weekend before another storm system tracks through another trough, making its way through as we get into the later part of the week, into the weekend, bringing thunderstorm chances and cooler weather back to the Canadian prairies. So warm to start the week, but then midweek, thunderstorm chances moving west to east. I suppose I should just jump to the precipitation forecast and that'll help us out here. But then as we get into the later part of the week, ridge builds back in, letting warmer temperatures settle back into the region, not before or before the next storm system comes through over the weekend, bringing thunderstorm chances back to the area. Why don't we just jump ahead into the forecast and kind of take a look at it this way? We're looking at the temperature anomaly forecast here, starting on Tuesday morning. Again, very warm across a big chunk of the Canadian prairies. Very cool across the Midwest and the central United States, which is a big change here compared to what we've seen over the last 7 to 10 days. So we'll loop out the temperature anomaly forecast then as we head into the middle part of the week. Here comes this first storm system now, bringing slightly cooler temperatures, a relief from the heat here as we get into Wednesday and then Thursday, really. But as it's doesn't last long here, as we get past that into the later part of the week and the weekend, now in advance of our next storm system, we're warming back up here, looking at the temperature anomaly forecast here Friday and Saturday. And then as we get into the weekend, the next storm system makes its way out of here, and we've got much cooler temperatures coming in on the back side of that as we get into the end of the weekend and early next week. The precipitation forecast that accompanies that, we'll go ahead and we'll step through time here as well as we start off on Tuesday. Watching for isolated scattered thunderstorms developing mostly on the high plains here in parts of western Alberta. As we get into Wednesday now, this area of low pressure, the surface low, emerges across Alberta with significant precipitation expected now over portions of northern and central Alberta in the form of some thunderstorms here Wednesday into Wednesday night. Starting to get these thunderstorms pushing into parts of central Saskatchewan as early as Wednesday night. Becoming more widespread as we head into the day on Thursday as this area of low pressure makes its way off to the east. A frontal boundary extending kind of back behind that where we could still have some lingering showers and storms developing as we get into Friday morning, but kind of quieting out for the most part across the Canadian prairies here Friday and into Saturday. It's Saturday evening, though, that right now the next area of low pressure is forecast to emerge from the Rockies, bringing thunderstorm chances to parts of central and southern Alberta here on Saturday afternoon and evening, and then moving across the Canadian prairies here Saturday into Sunday. So just recapping once more, the first storm system bringing precipitation chances starting in Alberta Tuesday and Wednesday, moving across central Saskatchewan and central Manitoba here Wednesday and Thursday, perhaps lingering into the day on Friday. Dry for many people here on many across the Canadian prairies here, Friday into Saturday, and then it's Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening into Sunday that we see the next area of low pressure tracking across the region, bringing thunderstorm chances to the region. Talking about the instability that accompanies these storm systems, so here we are Tuesday afternoon. This is why we've got the chance for some thunderstorms across portions of Alberta close to the Front Range here. We'll go ahead and we'll click through time because you can watch each storm system move from west to east across the region this way. So here we are Wednesday evening, the peak of the instability here across parts of Alberta, supporting those thunderstorm chances, that chance for some severe weather, which we'll talk about here in a moment. As we get into the day on Wednesday, so looking at the instability forecast tomorrow, this is where I would have my best risk for some strong storms here from portions of north central Alberta into central and perhaps southern Saskatchewan as we get into Wednesday afternoon and evening, again watching this region for some strong storms. And then as we head into Thursday and Friday evening now, the instability being pushed off to the east, and now our thunderstorm chances is going to be highest on Thursday across portions of maybe far eastern Manitoba into getting into Ontario. Let's go ahead and jump back. I wanted to talk about the next weekend storm system. I need to take my drawings off, which I can't because I went ahead and now I need to go back. But here goes the first storm system exiting the picture. Go back one more time. Keep clicking around here. Alrighty, so the first storm system exits, and then as we get into the weekend, here's the next storm system emerging now. The instability you see flare back up across portions of the Canadian prairies here Saturday into Sunday. So the total accumulated precipitation forecast, you're going to see a big bullseye here across north central Alberta with other precipitation extending off across primarily portions of central and southern Manitoba. Let's go ahead and loop it out here through the end. This takes us all the way through the weekend, so all the way through Sunday evening. Let's go ahead and we'll pause. We'll step through time with this one. The first storm system makes its way here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By the time we get to Friday evening, here's what we've got. Of course, the heaviest precipitation across portions of northern and central Manitoba, with more scattered precipitation extending across central and northern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Lighter precipitation possible here across the south here. It's going to be much more isolated in nature across the southern prairie region. Take the drawings off. Let's get it through next weekend now. Here comes our next storm system pushing through. By the time we get to Sunday evening, here's what the European model has. Again, the higher precipitation back to the west with more scattered precipitation elsewhere across the Canadian prairies here across central and northern Manitoba, with lighter amounts off to the south, remaining driest in southern portions of the Canadian prairies. Here's your severe weather outlook as we talk about the risk on Tuesday afternoon and evening. Highest across parts of the Front Range here across northern and central, or I should really call it central and western Alberta here, between Grand Prairie and Edmonton. That's where your risk is going to be highest for some strong storms today, talking about primarily some damaging wind gusts and maybe some large hail with some of the strongest storms there. The tornado risk not quite so high today as we saw with some of the events over the last week or two. So we look at the soil moisture situation right now, really starting to put a dent in things across northern and central Alberta, and we'll continue to be working on a surplus at this point, getting closer to average, but still a little bit drier across central portions of the prairies, and then driest across the southern portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan, extending into southern Manitoba. Zooming in on Alberta now, talking about the precipitation forecast through Sunday evening. You can watch it accumulate there with the bullseye across north central portions of Alberta, where we could be talking about in excess of 100 millimeters by the time we get to Sunday. And then, of course, watching for any activity off to the south is going to be more isolated in nature, but certainly the dry spot and the loser in all of this is southern Alberta. The high temperature forecast for the next 5 days, very warm to start off. Remember, we've got ridging across the area now, upper 20s to the lower to middle 30s across the region here Tuesday afternoon and evening. Cooler weather on the backside, cooler temperatures on the backside of the storm system here Wednesday and Thursday, but the heat does rebound quickly by the time we get to the weekend. Here is Friday, and then your Saturday high temperatures. Now on Saturday, we're on the backside of that next cold front. So the heat, again, it rebounds for about 24 to 48 hours before another storm system brings some relief by the time we get to the back half of the weekend into early next week. Shifting over to look at Saskatchewan and Manitoba, we'll play things out here. Again, we still see this corridor through northern and central portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, but you notice the difference between here and Alberta. We're not seeing the big bullseye here. It's much more scattered in nature, where some folks still may be missing out on the majority of the precipitation, while others picking up perhaps between 50 and 100 millimeters on the high side. The southern areas, again, continue to be driest as we look at the Canadian prairies here. Driest is going to be across southern Alberta, but still much more isolated precipitation chances as we talk about southern Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba. Your high temperatures, again, for the next 5 days, warm to start off here, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, our storm system pushes through, brings us some cooler temperatures for the day on Thursday, except for perhaps far southern areas. As we get into the weekend, we start warming back up Friday and Saturday, but then if I played this out a little bit further for Sunday, you'd see cooler temperatures now working their way back into the region. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video, and I'll have your next Canadian regional update right here on Friday. Have a great day.